0対0で負けた方のリュウさん。ファーストピックジャックス。ビンのジャックスを警戒して取りましたよ。これはバンピック準備してますね。ビンにジャックスを渡してはいけないと。このビン対ドラもかなり楽しみです。
And it could be a very oppressive lane. Remember that champions like Kalista are also still up and available. How aggressive do BLG want to be on the bottom side of the map? They're thinking about it and they're looking to lock it in. So Kalista and Renata for Elk and On. Coming into this matchup today, we were talking a little bit about like where are the priorities going to be. My expectation was going to be that Shun was going to look to gank bot and Peanut was going to look to gank top. And right now, these drafts are giving very much what we expected.
And I'm looking at Azir Poppy here as the pickup for Gen G. Trophy's still really big fan of the Azir, and I think that for
本戦になると毎年評価上がって出てくるな。
We've seen a lot of LCK teams combine Poppy and Azir because of the synergy.
プレイインでは全く出てこなかったけど。
Playing as Kalista into Poppy isn't pleasant in general.
本戦始まると急にレナータ出てきてバンはピックになってる。去年もそうだった気がするし。
He has played it a few times across the course of his career. There's the Aphelios we talked about already.
存在しません。
Down here by Gen G,
2017
they
年。
have incredible scaling already, but
アジール、アフェリオスは昨日中国チームのウェイボーゲーミングがパワーを見せてました。ミリオ・アフェリオス、とんでもない力を発揮してましたよ。ベネクトもボコボコにしてました。そしてオリアナ。プレインとこの本戦でのメタが全然変わりますね。やはりポッピーがカリスタのカウンターポッピー。
There was also Showmaker actually mentioned this in an interview. A lot of LCK teams really highly rate the Azir because specifically the ability to punish is so hard and you don't need to expend any resources toward it. So it frees up by allowing Chovy to just take on the lane entirely by himself, because let's not forget, I don't think we've seen Orianna be a viable target for punishes when you have a really strong mid jungle. I don't really feel like that's what Gen G are setting up for, especially with the Poppy being banned. We'll see what they end up going for here. I'm a little bit worried that because it might come through and
マルファイトもレーン弱すぎてちょっと最近使うのが苦しいです。ランブルバーン、ポッキーバーン、セジュアニバーン。
Renekton is something I think Gen G already banned away, taken off the board, of course. But when you look at Bin's champion pool, so far Worlds he's played Jax, Renekton, Cassante, and Aatrox. And the Cassante now going to be taken away. So Gen G definitely done their research. They want to try and funnel Bin into a direction where he hasn't shown the same. I don't want to say comfort, because Bin is obviously a very flexible top laner, but so far at this tournament, his go-to champions have been Jax and Renekton. So Dorian is saying, what else you got?
You're asking him to show something new.
ジャーバを先に取りましたね。取られるのが嫌だったということですか。
Jarvan locked in for BLG, a ball delivery system alongside obviously
the fixed
gives them a lot of power in the later game. But I really like the tough Genji until they decided to switch towards the Rel.
Might still be the Rel jungle. Because this is also a continuation of LCK teams, specifically T1, started prioritizing this Kench. And LBL teams really putting high priority on that. Obviously T1 played it, but that was specifically in the Nash lane. Not going to show a new champion, instead going back to the Aatrox. The team finding power of his BLG is, especially in the mid game, absolutely insane.
のカウンターとしてよくピックされてたんですけど、ジャックスがやり方を知っているということですか。
expect something like the Emilio, but I guess they were sitting there thinking to themselves, you know what, his ultimate's not going to have as much value against the composition that we currently see. So instead, if my Aphelios does get ulted on by Jarvan, at least I can then use the Devour.
去年エイトロックスが最強だったワールズではジャックスよくバンされてましたよ。
You've got very effective disengage with the use of the Azir ultimate, and then that range that you're going to have with the Aphelios Azir combo. This looks like a very traditional LCK composition, something that's more catered towards that scaling and team fighting, while still providing that pressure in the laning phase. Whereas BLG are going to look to scrap and skirmish in the early game with a high focus on that bot side.
What's a slight issue with the overlay there? The champions are all in their expected positions. We're not going to see Aphelios against Chovy. Sad as it is that we don't get to see something like that come out here in the quarterfinals. For Chovy, it's his 5th quarterfinal in 5 years. Can he go further? Can he make it to the finals, to the promised land as a player? Can Gen G do that as well? Because over the last few years, they've been domestically dominant, but overshadowed by T1 when it comes to international competition.
And for a first seed of the LCK, that's not enough. Right? The
ワンピックどっちの勝利全然わからないです。
Gen G today can conquer their demons from MSI. Actually take the
僕
win
ら
here.
5人に分身してプロプレイヤーをボコボコにするんですけど、
They've only played once. It was a 3-0
3、4交代でカワーダイブし続けるんですけど、
A lot of it coming through Shun, working his way down towards that bottom lane, and here they've got a composition that if he's in bot a lot, is going to help them out no end. Gen G versus BLG, as we see. Just a normal line of scrimmage. You guys, if you want to get involved at home, you can connect to League of Legends.
カリスタをキックしたということは、 連勝利しないといけないですね。 連最強格のチャンピオン。終盤は運用が難しい。連勝ってドラゴン取って。 スノーボールしていきたい。
I think we're allowed to say what it's referring to. I think that's.
プロの方々はチャンピオンのスキルの CD は完全に暗記してるでしょう。
I crook around my neck pulling the
Can't say
outfit,
Keck
so
W.
I'm sorry, guys.
I think we'll be okay. I think it's fine.
You'll be fine.
You know, I haven't looked at the law book for a long time, but I feel like you're safe on this one, Matic.
I hope so too.
Now, no hail of blades on the
これは
Azir.
カリスタがいるということはボットレーンを
from
カバーする。
when he played up against Caps.
BLG はボットレーンを勝たせようと頑張るんじゃないでしょうか。
Chovy's just pretty confident in his ability to go toe to toe.
カリスタ連負けると本当に
And we got to look
お
at
しまい
where
で
these
すから。
jumpers are starting. Early vision has been invested on the side of BLG, so they will spot
ジャバも上スタートですね。
He started on his Raptors, and he could look for a
上
play
が
towards
ス
the
タート
bot
で
side
ボ
of
ット側に
the
行くで
map,
しょう。
but he may very well just path back up towards top and look for a play to set Doran up for success.
Yeah, Peanut actually with the sweep are able to take down the ward. Will still get spotted, so it will still give the information to BLG, but it will deny any further and give Peanut a little bit of
カリ
resources.
スタ射程が短いチャンピオンですから。
BLG was able to dismantle both LCK teams with very similar strategies.
集団戦とても難しいですよ。
For Elk
今どっちが
and
有利？
on, and then turn that into an early gank for Sean, and from that point on take control. So we'll have to see. I think the early level 1 from Elk and on looks convincing. They're also obviously expected to take a lead, and they should be able to. Yeah, I was about to say, get the ward off here. You know the Peanut is there.
互角です。
They'll be able to clear out the vision though.
With a big wave crashing in, Elkan on, need to be aware the enemy jungler can be near. You can actually see Shun skipping all of his bot side camps to work his way down here first, puts a ward over the wall, catches Peanut. Should just be a trade here as the Pheromancy will get Peanut over the wall on, and Elk still pushing in, but
ボットレーンを守るため
we'll
に
see a dive this
ジャバ
early.
が顔を出
So
して
this
い
is
く。
very common from Shun, often playing around the bot side of the map, something that we've been seeing a lot, pretty much ever since MSI. A large part of their
美しいですわ。
resurgence
これ
and climb to the top.
これレルが3キャンプしたら勝ってるの分かってるので、
Because of how dominant they could be in the early game. Their
もう安
willingness
全
to
ですね
set up these early game dives.
BLG の
something
ボ
that
ッ
we
トレーン
shouldn't
は安
be
全。
too surprised to even look for in this game. Obviously, can be very difficult against a champion like
ジャバ
Tarkin.
君が上スタートしてくれたおかげで安全ですわ。
Considering, especially as they've already gotten that early push.
Yeah, I think you're gonna try and get as much done pre-6. Post-6, the ganks become so much harder, even if you are able to
このパッチ、
overload, maybe get Yagao
アジェルはナーフされて結
becomes
構
really
カバーが
tough
落
to
ちてると
consistently get the CC. So I really like this from Sean.
思われます。
Continued attention towards the bot side. Pays and the light are pretty full. Do have their summon that's available, but even blowing them would already be a big win.
Only cleanse on Pays as well. On can look for that handshake to light.
やれるのかこのダイブ。
Pays cleanses with a flash bomb.
うわ
Pays the ultimate price.
ジャバうますぎる。 マジ
This
か。
time 1-for-1 trade in the bottom lane.
The play is worth it though overall for BLG. The amount of farm and experience, Pace does get a return kill, which is kind of the best case scenario for him. But we were just talking about this bot lane dive, and Shun without any hesitation.
アフェロスにギリギリのタイミングでフラッシュしたのに。
They find first blood.
アフラスが本当にギリギリのタイミングでフラッシュしたのに、そこにフラッシュでついていきましたよ。
Actually, highlighting Shun here, really good follow up on that flash, right? If he doesn't hit the flash, flag and drag, this might actually end up backfiring. But look at that, the last second reaction secures the play because otherwise, on might die and Elk obviously taking the next turret wouldn't have been able to really continue the play. So credit to the Jarvan getting that early pressure in.
そんなに悪くないこれ。アフラスにキル入ったし、CS のロストもそんなになかった。さすがに抜けからではないと思いたいけど、あれはあそこにフラッシュをしないとアフラスが死ぬから、あそこにフラッシュするしかないということで、じゃあもうフラッシュでついていったんだと思います。
It is look for these mega aggressive plays when you know there is a window, and they're starting a dragon right now. I don't feel like Gen G should contest this, but it wouldn't be a first. We saw them do it against T1 as well.
いやー、さっきのダイブを生かしてドラゴン取っていきますね。カリスタはドラゴンとかバロンスティールされる心配がないので、とても強いです。円の強さを生かしてドラゴン加算でいきたいですな、BLG さん。うまい。うまいけど、エイトロックスの Q 強すぎなんですよ。グラビタも持ってるぞ。ロングラッシュでなった。わあ、ナイス。お？ジャックスやれるのかこれ。ちょっと体力厳しそうだぞ。テレポートもない。
I mean, credit to Gen G.
I thought
the BLG's control was good, but those wards that I was trying to highlight did disappear. They didn't have information on where Peanut was. They were pushed too deep into the lane when they didn't really have much information, and Gen G made that look easy. They punished on summoner spells.
Ooh, Doran might get caught here.
ダウンアティックの最強チャンピオンですから。これジャックスダイブされる。レルがカバー来てるから大丈夫ですか。
The right position at the right time, and the Nut Gods looking for something. As they go forward, Bin has the flash away, Doran has the flash, follow counter strike coming out, and Bin is locked up and sent packing by Gen G.
And Peanut, his pathing this game has been immaculate, covering for the early dive. Yes, they're able to get the kill, but Lace gets a counter. Then gets off the gang, on without summoners, and then is tough to not only cover for a potential dive on Doran, but even find an angle. Bin
パソコンゲームでポチポチしてるだけに見えるんですけど、この人たち何百万人いる中での何百万人の中の選ばれしい強者なんですよ。なのでただポチポチしてるだけではないということなんですわ。レナータが相手のキャリーにキル入りやすくなる。確かにレナータのダブルで生き残ると最後に攻撃した人にキルが入りますから、相手としたらキル譲りやすいですね。さっきもアフロスにボットでキル譲れましたし。ただウルトのパワーがありますよ、レナータ。ウルトの W パワーありますから。
Every dive bot becomes harder for BLG because Delight now has the Devour.
いや、このヘックスフラッシュのガンクですよ。
Because it's anaphylactic shock for BLG. The face call will get them out, but once again,
カリスタのフラッシュとウルトを使わせたと。ナイス。そしてネルが下にいるので、ジャーバンはウルダーのヘラルドを食べていく。
I mean, I kind of expected BLG to just push in that wave and rotate up towards the Herald to then look for a contest. Nice trading there from Bin.
カリスタのウルトは
forced to pop the ultimate.
必ず救うことができますね。
He is on the weak side. Doesn't have much HP.
いや、ダイブされるから下がらないといけない。うまいステップ。
Doran forced away. Rift Herald can come down. Shun, of course, has to wait
ステップうまいけど突破のロストがすごいですよ。 CS カメに行けない。
When you have this Kalista Renata, you want to make sure that they do have an advantage going into the mid game. Ideally, you can get that first item spike before the Aphelios, so that when you get to these next dragons, Dragon 2, Dragon 3, you're in a stronger position around that 2-item mark.
プレートとちょっとの CS のロストが済みましたか。デスしないの偉すぎる。アジェルのインチキルトです。これもウルトとフラッシュの交換強すぎる。
No fates call yet for Elk, so half the time on that, but they do have the hostile takeover if they want to look for more. Shun goes in, they find Ace. Cataclysm down with the devour. Hostile takeover popping as well. The shield from Pace, he tries to cleanse away.
ちょっと戦いにくいか。アフロスウルトで体力回復して逃げるけどフラッシュがないレールは逃げられず死亡。レナータのウルトパワーありますね。こういう場所 避けることできないからな。
I mean, massive disrespect from Gen G. I thought that they were able to escort themselves out with the support coming in from the bot lane. Notice as well, Yagao kind of has control of the mid wave as well, so Chovy can't come to assist. Shun with what felt to me like initially a very aggressive play, isolating himself from the backline, but he actually creates this wall, but there's no threat onto Elk. He flashes away to safety, Delight is forced to flash away, and very quickly Gen G is on the retreat with Elk and on the chase down. It's a bit of a shame that they don't give the kill over to Elk, but aside from that, BLG looking confident in this early game.
It's also the weakness of Devour.
本当にヘラルドを流してその隙にドラゴン触りました。
I like the Tom Kenshin team fights, but when it's a 3v3, it becomes a lot harder to make sure
いやこれもギグですね。ギグです。
towards this dragon would be the second of the game for BLG.
いや BLG さんテンポが非常にいいですね。とてもテンポがいい。
11 minutes in with it about a 600 700 gold lead. The question is, can they continue to accelerate this game? Because Gen G, they can't. They had to pause it.
ポーズ入り
Don't
ま
know if
す。
that was BLG
ポ
or
ーズ
Gen
で
G, but
す。
as soon as I say accelerate, we decide to slow the tempo down just a tad.
Does look like the back into game, and if you are just joining us,
復活
this
した。
is the World Championship quarterfinal.
ポーズ解除
Yesterday
です。
we saw NRG versus Weibo, and spoiler alert, Weibo did win. That means that the winner of this series will be going on to face Weibo in the semi-finals. Many consider this the easier side of the bracket if you're Gen G.
Or even BLG if they manage to win this.
Potentially, yeah.
The semi-final is easier than anything you could face on the other side.
Of course, depending on who you ask, that could be a controversial statement.
お、チョービーさん CS 落としました。マイナス1。珍しいものが見れましたね。
But back into this game, Doran and Bin going for a bit of a back and forth.
A really good trade here from Bin's going to pull Doran back. Grandmaster's
いやジャックス対エイトロックス勝てないのか。
So to get to the security
ヘッドフォンがヘッドセットがマイクにかすってしまうとちょっと音が鳴ってしまいます。申し訳ないです。
Oh, Peanut is hiding in the fog, but we'll get spotted now. I think just
ちょくちょく
gets the full wave.
これをやります。ヘッドセットがマイクに当たる。もうちょっとマイクを場所を前にするか。お、タムケンチ最強。タムケンチの体力とカリスタの体力を交換していく。
Fortunately for Paze, this wave is pushing towards him, so he should be able to catch this. He knows that the jungler is on the top side of the map, so he shouldn't have to worry about any early ganks. He will lose a little bit of farm here, and you can see these discrepancies starting to build. The analyst desk did talk about it. When it came to this AD carry matchup, it was slightly more favored towards Paze, but when we think back to MSI, Elk was one of the breakout standout players of the entire tournament. People were putting him in the conversation for best performing AD as Chovy.
俺はフラッシュはあるけどレルの獅子強すぎ。
Chovy puts down the soldiers, and Yagao is buried beneath their feet. Doran with a good jump.
ジャックスが
chases in, and still it's only Shun
さっき1対1でフラッシュ使わされたジャックス死亡。
Gen G are able to punish the Orianna even if Flash Up Yagao realizes that there's too much
ヘッ
damage
ドセット
available.
外した後に髪の毛がへこむ。確かに。
for his earlier play as Elk There's no wave.
それ気になる人は結構イヤホン使ったりしますか？僕はイヤホンアンチなのでヘッドセットを使ってます。
Objectives on the map in 40 seconds of Rift Held, 2 minutes before the third Drake for BLG. If they fight around it, you can see On and Shun reacting to the pressure that their AD carry was put under. I do think that Elk will want to base pretty soon, pick up that first.
いやー、トップレーンこれ
Overall, as you say, it's a bit of a boxing match between these two. Currently on points, no knockdowns as of yet. We'll have a
いやー、
look
さ
at
っき
this
1
top
対
side.
1でフラッシュ切らされたんですよね、ジャ
Dawn
ックス
jumps in and Shun's like, you have no flash. Back
ジャ
in
ッ
I
クス
go.
というチャンピオンダメにトレードするために2で入っていかないといけないからリスクがあるキックではあるんですよ。 CS を取るのも通常攻撃しないといけないからレーニングにかなりリスクがありますね。ジャーバーから逃げることできず、あとプレー900ゴールド差、 ADC アフェロスがゴールド勝ってるのか。
jokingly is able to say, hey, you know,
こ
I'm
れ
not the
戦
star,
いますか？
I have a
ア
lot
フロス
going
の
on.
武器弱いけど
In his play, I think you can see he has a lot of these
お
moments as the
テレポート
contestants
した
gonna
という
come
こと
through.
は戦うということですか？アフロスの武器本当に弱いけど、オレアナのウルトも2人に決まり、ジャックスも死亡。はいよー、逃げられますかこれ。探検士さんナイス中です。でもフラッシュないです、探検士。おお、W でギリギリ逃げていく。2人の命とヘラルドが失われました。ビリビリしてますね。チョービーさんのウルトによってカリスタもフラッシュなくなりましたよ。ナイス。レナータのウルトがこういう狭いところに刺さるんですわ。いや、レナータのウルトも刺さったし、アフロスのウルトもドキがそもそも弱いし、1人しかウルト入らなかったので、そしてトップでもエイトロックスがかなり育っていると。あいやー、ドラゴン3体目ですわ。ちょっとカリスタのパワーが存分に発揮されてますよ。
They've got the hostile takeover as well and the shockwave. Like, if you are funneled, there is no way you're getting on this BLG.
円の強さを生かしてドラゴンを重ねていくというのを3回繰り返してますわ。ドラゴン3体。
And I think that that is something that internationally they just haven't really been able to show. And in this game, we're seeing it again. T1 is the team of no, we take the fight. We just handled it. It's fine. Gen G have been so consistent over the last year and a half. I think specifically because they have been really good about which fights to pick. But thus far in this game, we're not really seeing it. Now, I do think that eventually Paze will reach a point, Chovy will reach a point. But if you keep giving up these type of fights to BLG, they're just going to run away with the game. Get a Baron, and this is done.
I mean, but when BLG went 15-1 in the regular season, it was play like this that got them there. This is how they were dominating the domestic scene. So we'll have to see if Gen G can turn things around.
いやー、ボットのタワーも折られちゃったし、ジェンジ苦しいですよ、これは。
Sneaky steal there from Shun. But huge
ちょっ
credit
と
to BLG.
こういうタワー取られて下に先に取られちゃうようなゲームでどうやって逆転するのか見せてほしい。どうやって逆転すればいいんでしょう、こうなったら。うまくキャッチを狙うと言っても、視界を取られている側は敵をキャッチするの難しいですよ。チョービーさんが5人打ち上げてくれますか。
He's about to get it, but that's why he didn't win the smite on Gromp, because his smite does 900 and Shun says 1,200. He is just too far ahead. Now, both the jungle items complete for these junglers. BLG setting up towards the top side of the map, because in a minute, the next major objective will spawn the Baron available to them if they want to play around it. Also, this vision line gives Bin a little bit more safety in pushing further forward. I think the last time we looked at the gold, he was about 1,000 to 1,400 gold ahead of Doran. And everything is coming up very, very well. 1,800 gold lead in the top lane for Bin.
Just had to say that goal gap is primarily focused on the top side of the map. You'll notice that Jun actually has the same amount of goals as Chovy, which is pretty good.
And Chovy's been Chovy. You know, he's 197 CS, almost 200 before the 20 minute
バロンか。バロン側行って、
forcing it back in the middle lane as well. We've seen him
次のドラゴンをファイトしないといけないけどな。
But when it comes to team fights right now, BLG has to be favored just because of the
行動差が生まれないままファイトさせられてしまう。
And it's here where the early investment from BLG really paid off, right? Where the early dragon stacking, plus the fact that they're able to win the Herald fight, really is going to make a big difference because of the lack of turrets, the outer ring for Gen.G fully gone, it's really hard for them to maintain control of any area. So every time that they walk forward and try to set up any sort of vision control, it is immediately cleared out by BLG. And you don't really want to take a fight as Gen.G, so you just have to back off every single time. But that does mean that BLG is going to have a free setup for this soul point that is coming up in a minute and a half.
何パーセントだこれ ?80% ぐらいあるのか
which I think BLG are going to be very
90% ぐらいあるのか BLG
really like the way On's playing his last few moments. He's doing something Treats talked to me about a little bit. He made a really good video on Mickey
ちょ
doing
っとトッ
in
プ
the early tempo side.
あのガンクとだい
Walk down one side of the map as
だいぶプレッシャーでかなり
three
お
walls
金
on this side of the
さ
map.
ついちゃった
Then
な
you
ジャーバ
immediately
ンも
reset
3
and
キル
say,
持ってる
okay,
し
what do I do now? Well, I come up towards the top side of the map. I don't usually do
ちょ
this.
っ
I'm
と
sorry, guys.
苦
I
しい
walk
で
in
す
with
け
my
ど
jungler, and then I place small wards on this side of the map. And what it means is the enemy team is
でも
always trying to
ゴードさ
deny vision in their own jungle
埋める
instead of
方法
getting
が
deeper vision in. But also,
ないですね
if Doran is pushing the bot lane and he starts to move
このまま
up,
ドラゴン
you
ファイト
can
で
track
き
him
ます
on
か
his moves, so you know whether he's investing the TP immediately or whether he's actually trying to run all the way up to a fight that can occur.
And means look at the map. Look at the vision toggle here. Really, really well done by the observers. Like Gen.G have zero idea. They're basically just walking into this, and of course, the line and Peanut relatively safe, but they can still get collapsed on. I think Gen.G might be able to hit 2 item spikes on Chovy and Pei.
確かに
See if they
Infinity H できた
feel like that's enough of an angle, because it does feel like if they don't contest for this this dragon, it is going to be really hard. The window gear from here out. Chovy does just now finish his Nashor's pays his IE as well.
Bot wave is pushed in for BLG. The fight over the mid wave has begun.
じゃあお互いバトルの準備が始まってますよ
The vision that
オーシャンソウルを
Medic
かけた
highlighted
戦い
in favor of
近いです
BLG. You can see the Yagao posturing towards
ア
the
フロス
river.
どっちも
Dragon
悪く
now
ない
alive. Elcor
悪く
started
ない
off.
They can't get to this, right? There's no vision. They have to try and make a either for the
イ
play
ン
for
フ
the
ァーナ
fight.
も持ってま
Go
す
for Nash, but
And Peanut can try and walk across here, but
Dragon
Yagao's doing a
da.
really good job of keeping the ball down. Peanut now going to try and chase forward, but Yagao's shown in the right position to stop them. The Magna Storm for Peanut, he's nowhere
Re-
near
Nelson.
them! It's just miles
Better
away.
no
They've got an
touch it.
EpiPen or something,
Dragon
'cause
取れません
Peanut not doing anything to them as BLG secure the ocean.
オーシャンソウルですこれはバロンとエルダーの力で頑張る
The
プラに切り
engage
替えて
goes
いく
wide. Gen.G now don't have an easy way to start
バ
the
トル
fight.
始まっ
Doran
た
Gonna get brought back.
ジャックス死ぬ
Handshake coming out. Moonlight Vigil does hit the Infernum. There's the hostile
あなたの糸でアジールがフロスを殴っていく
The Devourer comes out.
アジールじゃなかったすいませんレルでした
And Gen.G are found wanting by the
いやこれジャックスと短ペンチいなくなっちゃって
and it's
バランも
again
取られます
BLG
ね
able to very
ちょっと
calmly
この
play
試
out the
合もう
scenario.
無理
They
か
set up full control. They know that Gen.G has to walk in. Peanut has to go for a desperation play, but with the ultimate gone, no Magnet Storm, no engage. There is nothing that they can do than the turn from BLG, who are more than happy to look for a fight. That's Soul, and that's Baron.
We're seeing the
Yeah.
weaknesses of Gen.G's comp where when Peanut doesn't have an
どう
engage,
しようも
how
ない
does Gen.G actually start a fight? Not that they really want to in this position, but Doran
ジ
goes
ャックス
in.
が入ってきて
Jovi's
バト
forced
ル
to
開
back
始
away. Peanut is isolated.
Zoya
And then look at
で
this
時間
engage from
稼ぐ
Shun. Oh my god, it's fantastic. 3
ジャーバンが
members get
3人
locked up.
囲んでます
The Devourer will
ジャーバン
come
うます
through
ぎ
after the ultimate to try and keep
ア
Jovi
ジールがウ
alive.
ルトで頑張って
Doran falls short, but
敵
the
を追い
wombo
返すけれ
combo
ども
is strong.
何もできず
Hayes and Peanut cannot get involved, and it's just a one-sided stomp from the side of BLG.
And I really agree with you, Vedi. I think The lack of engage for Gen.G is costing them so much, especially since so often it's been Delight on an engaged champion that sets up the fights for Gen.G. We saw it against Team One as Rakan, exemplary, but on a Tom Kench, your entire job is to disengage. Yes, sometimes in lane we see Abyssal Voyages in, we see a fight beginning with it, but here you just don't have that luxury. And Gen.G are struggling because of it, and BLG once again seem to be Gen.G's kryptonite.
And now Gen.G, you're at the point of the game where you just gotta hope that someone on BLG
頑張ってウェーブクリアしましょう。アフロスとアジルがいる。一応ウェーブクリアはまあまあ強いぞ。ちょっと全部足りないですか。ドラゴンソウルサボあるし。
Breon so good when he was on that team. What gave them the ability to just get upset wins every now and then. Red Bull Baron power play for BLG.
誰かここからジェンジーが勝つ方法を教えてくれ。
Further and further ahead, and if they can get this in as well, maybe a few kills. It'll be really hard for Gen.G to find an angle back. Almost 6k gold lead here for BLG.
So this is where it can get a little shaky for BLG. They've got to get close to this tower, and look at where Chovy's positioning. He's standing just a little bit in front of the tower so that the soldiers can act as poke
ボットのセカンドタワーを4対4で頑張ってます。
BLG can't approach. They're very reliant on this empowered cannon minion.
セカンドタワーは時間が経てば折れちゃうでしょう。
Been able to do against this tower. He's getting a lot more work done. Doran can't do much to hold him off, and BLG at least will unlock a tier 2. But off the back of this Baron, it seems difficult for BLG to really break into the base of Gen.G.
BLG don't really have the range either. Kalista relatively short range. Oriana, I mean, you can put the ball down, but walking into melee range to try and get autos on that tower, or walking into auto attack range doesn't do enough. The shockwave doesn't hit there. Peanut held on to his flash in the engage around Dragon, so he does have that as a tool in his toolkit.
オリアナがウルト使ったか。
BLG are just
使ったけど誰にも当たらなかったか。これは。
in this mid lane to allow them to push through that bot lane. The wave's still about 5-6 seconds away, so not quite synced, as Gen.G have done a really good job of holding BLG at bay during this Baron. The hostile takeover comes
レナータがウルトでプレッシャーをかけていき、タワーにダメージを与えようとするけど、アフロスがウルトでカウンターしていく。ちょっとアフロスさんまだ武器が弱いです。
Tower still stands strong. No wave in the mid lane for Bin to push on. The Baron now expires. And all in all, only a couple of towers fall during it for BLG.
Well, Gen.G held the line. Overall, the amount of damage done by BLG wasn't the
ミッド
worst.
の
And it
に
gives
じ
them
み
an
たタワー
opportunity
も
to
かなり
fight
削られ
this
てしまっ
Elder.
た。バロンバフなくなったけど
Will
も
they be able to
守れ
finish
ません
more
か。
items? Hang on, that shockwave.
いやまだ守れる。
Almost off cooldown, 6 more seconds. So Peanut's gonna back away. I respect BLG's resilience. They know that the dragon isn't spawning for another minute and a half.
There is also no control ward or anything for Gen.G behind him, right? So they can't go for the teleport flank. It's not like Chovy and Doran can get back on Nexus, and the persistence is rewarded here for BLG. Also courtesy to the Ocean Soul. In a situation like this, the continuous regen really makes a big difference.
The war of attrition, they're always going to win,
yeah,
right?
100%. And BLG now
そんなに賞金ついてないな。
free
こうしてみ
items
ると。
for Bin, free items for Elk, and Gen.G need a miracle to not lose Elder and the subsequent game here, right? Like you need either a crazy steal from Peanut. I do think Rel is one of the best champions because of the Q and E extra monster damage, or maybe Pace can hit his Lord Doms, but I feel like he's still so far off. Does actually finish it as I finish my sentence, but they still have zero control. And BLG have 50 seconds to set up the objective here.
Well, it was an Elder Dragon that cost BLG game 2 against G2.
Hey.
So you imagine that they're going to learn from those mistakes. The amount of control they have right now, the observers are highlighting all of the vision that BLG have. And Gen.G are slowly being suffocated. They have that one control ward in the Dragon Pit.
It's the benefit of Ocean. It's the benefit of Ocean here for Gen.G. Now, Peanut caught out a little bit. Should be able to get his way away from this one. Shun now spots the control ward in to make sure they cleared out all their corners. And Shun can look for more because Peanut dismounted right now. EQ in, flag and drag, Cataclysm as well. Delight has to flash as does Peanut. Inferno from the side means that On is down to half HP, but that's so much invested by Gen.G. And with not too much gain, they have mid-wave prior. Spawns, Elk starts it. Bing no flash for Peanut, remember, just burnt it. But he can get into this fight. The shockwave finds Chovy, Delight, and Pace now beginning to step it up.
いや取れないでしょこれは。エナタが歌で時間を稼ぎ、エイトロックスが強いですわ。エルダーも取られてこの試合はおしまいでしょう。あいや
puts him in his place as BLG clean up in the river.
And BLG immediately head towards the bot side of the map. Wave is ready. No turret standing there. Doran desperately trying to draw some attention, but it was not enough, and BLG take a resounding victory here in game number 1, and it looks like Gen G and Messiah might have been half a year ago, but it's not looking that different in game number 1.
I tell you, let's all the time between these two teams, it seems, as BLG come out to an early lead and are able to snowball it away from Gen G. A few mistakes. Gen G, Doran as well in the top lane specifically had struggled into bin after a few good early forays, and BLG never let go of the reins. Gen G respawning, but the Elder still stands on BLG, and they can look for the fight. Dinosaur finds 2, but Pays pulled back, and he's just deleted by the laser. Peanut Butter Suit and BLG playing with Gen G. In this quarterfinal.
Shows only death to the Nexus at the very end. An incredible game across the board from him in the jungle. From start to finish, he was finding all of BLG's advantages in the team fights. He was just impeccable. Huge credit to BLG coming into this series once again as the underdogs. And once again, they're beginning to silence the doubters.
What a performance by BLG in game.